Well, the Broncos pulled off a comeback win of the century on Sunday. Giants allowed Denver to rally with 33 points in the fourth quarter. One of the most stunning turnarounds we have seen in NFL history, edging them out 33-32 thanks to a field goal. But apparently the win wasn't enough for Sean Payton. He was hoping to see another certain quarterback instead of Jackson Dart. Take a listen to this.
I have a ton of respect for that organization. I spent 4 of my early years there. Coordinating Super Bowl, first game in this stadium before 9/11, close with the mayor, Tisch family, and they found a little spark with that quarterback. I was talking to John Mayer not too long ago, and I said we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game. But anyway.
Whoopsie. So praise for Dart, but maybe a little shade for Russell Wilson. But he heard it all. Look at this. Russ, for the first time in his career, people.
Wait a minute.
Did not take the high road. He had some time and a keyboard available, posting this on social saying, classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 years plus later through the media. Hashtag let's ride. And of course, a few laughing emojis there from QB2. So that is something to watch. Tyler Sullivan is here for all the smoke as well to get us started with this one. And Tyler, we never get a chance to see Russ maybe react to certain things in this nature when it comes to those Twitter fingers working. But what did you get from the response from Payton's comments and also Russ?
Well, he has time now, right? He's not the starting quarterback in the NFL, so he's got time to go after his haters like Sean Payton. And so did I think the comment was that crazy? No, he was giving Jackson Dart his flowers while also giving a little rib to his former quarterback in Russell Wilson. And that is Sean Payton that we've come to know and love throughout his time in the NFL. And Russell Wilson, fair to clap back, but I do think that it's interesting, and you kind of referenced it, right? That this is the first time that we've seen Russell Wilson kind of crack a little bit, show that edge a little bit. And I wonder if that's stemming from the road that he's been on essentially since he's been with Sean Payton with the Denver Broncos. Almost immediately, that didn't work out. That was not a marriage that was going to last long in Denver. But you go from that point to then to Pittsburgh, where he took over for Justin Fields midseason, but didn't really have the success that the Pittsburgh Steelers would have wanted. They let him go in free agency. The New York Giants were kind of his last resort. They were even interested in Matthew Stafford and kind of settled on Russell Wilson this offseason. Then they drafted Jackson Dart. He's since been benched. So I wonder if it's the frustrations of someone at the end of their career kind of looking at their NFL mortality and getting a little irritable towards the end. So that's kind of what I see here with Russell Wilson.
He might be frustrated. That bank account is very happy based on the past couple of stops we have seen dating back to the Broncos, Steelers, and now New York. But big picture here, we are 2 weeks away or less than 2 weeks away from that trade deadline that we might hear his name again and circle back to maybe what his value might be. What are you hearing, and where does he kind of sit right now with that value?
Yeah, Brendan, it's interesting because right when they made the decision to go to Jackson Dart, obviously we write about landing spots and things like that on CBSSports.com, and I was tasked with doing that for Russell Wilson. I'll be honest, I had a hard time trying to figure out where to put Russell Wilson in the NFL because if you look at the overall landscape, Joe Flacco is now in Cincinnati. That spot that was so obvious has since been bottled up. You have, I guess, the San Francisco 49ers at the time, but they have Mac Jones and they'll get Brock Purdy back, so that doesn't seem like an option. The New Orleans Saints are another team that has a question at quarterback, but they're rolling with Spencer Rattler, and if not, they'll probably want to see what they have in Tyler Shuck, so it doesn't necessarily make sense there. So really, where is the spot for Russell Wilson? Is it maybe the New York Jets? They seem like they're going to be moving off of Justin Fields. Do they go with Tyrod Taylor, or do they go externally and try to find somebody for the rest of the season like Russell Wilson? But overall, it does seem hard to find some place for Russell Wilson. You see the numbers here. Doesn't really seem like a productive quarterback that's going to instantly help your franchise. So I do wonder what the market is for him. I don't know if there's a set and forget spot for him as a starter outside of a devastating injury that we see over the next couple of weeks, because he hasn't really lived up to a starting caliber quarterback for the last few years.
Tyler, don't you try to put Russ on those problems they already have, the Jets, because that is our next topic. They're still winless in Aaron Glenn's first year. We already know that, but many on the outside would say, oh, Glenn's not doing his job. What happened to the culture? But on the inside, If you speak to Woody Johnson, he's singing a different tune. I want you to take a listen to this.
What's your confidence level in Aaron to turn it around?
Well, it looks like he's turning around parts of it. You know, it's hard when you have a quarterback with, with a rating that we got. You know, I mean, he has the ability, but something just is not jiving. But if you look at any head coach with a quarterback like that, you're going to see similar results if you go across the league. You have to play consistently with, at that position, and that's what we're going to try to do for the remainder of the season.
So what gives you hope then? Does it give hope?
I just think defense, special teams are doing better. Defense is pretty good, and if we can just complete a pass, it would look good. We got to complete some passes. You got to convince them that you can do something. Otherwise, it's hard to have have a game that you could win.
Tyler, that don't sound too good. That was 2 digs that I heard at QB1, who was relegated to QB2 this past weekend. But when you hear your owner saying that in terms of we don't have a quarterback, he needs to complete a pass, it's not Aaron Glenn's fault, what do you take away from that?
Does he like his quarterback? I don't know. Does it seem like he likes his quarterback situation with the New York Jets? I don't think so. I think that Justin Fields has a lot of problems right now. But for Aaron Glenn, I do wonder if we're going to get into a spot here. Yes, you can say that you feel good about him right now when we're going into week 8. But what happens when this loss total possibly doubles, if not more? They're 0-7 right now. And if you look at this schedule, there's really no relief in sight over the next few weeks unless they pull off some sort of crazy upset. I think week 14 when they host the Miami Dolphins, that's an area we could possibly look at as their first win. Maybe that's where they're favored. Week 18 when they host the Buffalo Bills, if they're not playing for something, that's a possibility for a win. But outside of that, their schedule was front-loaded with a lot of home games. You look at the next remaining few weeks, most of their games are on the road. So this is tough for Aaron Glenn, no matter what his quarterback situation is. And I find it interesting that Woody Johnson's talking about the defense playing pretty good. They are in some aspects, but in other aspects, they're bottom 3rd in the NFL in passer rating allowed, bottom 3rd in the NFL in points per game allowed. If those things continue and those losses continue to pile up, I think Aaron Glenn could be in some trouble no matter what his quarterback situation is.
That's just crazy to hear. I mean, you did sign the contract. We want you as QB1, but it doesn't look like that already, 0-7. So we'll see how that pans out here. In terms of the Bills, coming into this season, we thought this was a Super Bowl contender. The past couple of games, they have not looked like that. Of course, it may be no help on the inside. So why will they be maybe that team that's very hungry to come to trade deadline?
Yeah, I think if there's any team that should be aggressive before the November 4th trade deadline, it's the Buffalo Bills, and it's for a couple of different reasons. First of all, you look at the landscape of the AFC. Yes, the Chiefs have turned a corner. For a minute there, it looked like they might be kind of on a middling downward swing, but with Rashee Rice back, they seem to be a true threat. But outside of that, the lanes are open for them in the AFC to really make a significant push for a Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens have 1 win. Joe Burrow is a non-factor due to injury. Those were 2 of the 3 main rivals for them to get through the AFC. So right now, you're wondering about, of course, Patrick Mahomes, who you'll see in a couple of weeks. But after that, it's 40-something-year-old Aaron Rodgers with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's the Patriots and Drake May, who you've overall been able to handle outside of this previous game at home. And Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. The lane has never been clearer for them. But to me, they need to be aggressive at the deadline here. And the one position that I think they should attack with a vengeance is wide receiver. You look at that position on the roster right now, you have okay contributors. Khalil Shakir is a possession guy. You have Keon Coleman, who's been okay. He's their only receiver that's logged a 100-yard game throughout this season, but that came all the way back in week 1. Since then, he has not been that 100-yard receiver. So for me, this is a team to give yourself that spark. Go after somebody like Chris Olave in New Orleans, who's been rumored to be available. If you can acquire somebody of that caliber, you're talking about the best wide receiver you've had since Stephon Diggs. And we saw what a top wide receiver can do to a team like Kansas City getting Rashee Rice back. You put a guy like Chris Olave with Josh Allen in a backfield backfield with James Cook, then all of a sudden you're talking about an explosive offense that can go toe-to-toe with any elite offense in the NFL with Josh Allen at the helm.
At trade deadline November 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll see if they will make some moves along with others there. Tyler Sullivan, as always, appreciate your time tapping in on the NFL. Don't forget, Pushing the Pound does the same thing. Cal and the fellas always dialing it up in terms of Week 8 heading our way on Sunday. I'm pretty sure there's a lot to cover, including Justin Fields maybe out as QB1. Ooh.